Yaya's missing all these bangers because he's fucking distracted.
Hey, lock in.
Draft pod, you know what it is. Broncos on bye, we are not. All sorts of stuff to unpack. College football season, all sorts of stuff to unpack with the draft, including latest mocks from around the web and who they're mocking to the Broncos. Let's do that now. DNVR Draft Pod. We are doing it from the Toyota Lounge with the man, the myth, the legend, the one they call the Schwan Man. Jake Schwanitz here in studio with me.
You're far too kind, bro. I'm just happy to be here with you, man.
Come on, always a joy and a pleasure. J-Meg's got all sorts of stuff done. I just did an epic, way too early free agency offseason preview with Hank and Todd.
Yeah, how was it?
Absolutely spectacular. Kind of turns out we don't love many of these free agents.
It didn't seem like a great class to me.
We would like to reinvest in the roster and build through the draft, which really works perfectly for us.
Championship strategy.
It really is. Though, I don't know, maybe splash the cash on Najee Harris? Add a Tyler Conklin since that's such a desperate need.
Tyler Conklin was an OG draft crush of mine back at Central Michigan.
So true. Go Chippewas. Chippewas? Broncos?
I think so. No, Broncos
are Western. Yes. Row the boat. PJ Fleck. I know. I remember an early Friendsgiving watching Maction and telling Zach about like, oh yeah, that's Jack Conklin's brother. He's supposed to be a prospect. And then I don't know, maybe a veteran wide receiver, a Hopkins, a Cooper at the right price. It's kind of what we landed on mostly, though.
I think you and I talked about, and we might have not been on air, but Amari Cooper is a name that stood out to me, who I would be absolutely down for.
Todd liked him too. And he can bring up the rest of the guys.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Bringing up the rest of the guys, not the motto for the College Football Committee.
No.
They're really about bringing down and dividing us. They're not about uniting us.
Do they even know what
up.
They're about?
Yeah, as much as I am displeased and often a vocal criticizer about... we talked to Higgins over here in the Toyota chat. Great comment. Check it all out. Check it out on our YouTube feed. We've got a whole podcast for that. Yeah, is this really any better than the AP rankings? We've lost the compass.
So coming into this year, we knew it was going to be a change. It was going to be different, obviously.
Yeah, we did.
But I just expected the committee to have... not like experience, but just like more of an idea of what they were doing with this. Yeah. And it seems like they're just flying by the seat of their pants every week.
They really are. And are these power rankings? Are they just rankings? Are they scouting rankings? Like you're just trying to go the 12 best teams regardless of record?
I hope so if that's the case then, but I don't know. There needs to be more guidelines with this stuff, though.
I would agree, because now that once you start putting 3 lost teams ahead of 2 lost teams, that's kind of like the standard by which we have abided this whole time.
And then always
with the rankings, right?
For sure, yes.
Mostly it's, okay, you're in tiers, like, okay, the 1 lost teams, who's better, who's worse, the 2 lost teams, who's better, who's worse. you start to finagle too much with the 3-loss teams ahead of the 2-loss teams. We start to go a little too far off what the exercise should be, I think.
Well, and conference bias is at an all-time high right now in a year where newcomers could potentially win every single Power 4 conference. Oregon could win the Big 10. Texas could win the SEC.
Yes.
ASU can win the Big 12.
Yes.
And then SMU can win the ACC. What is going on? They've messed it all up, Dre.
You stole the point right from out my mouth. And I mean, you look at non-conference records, you look at the bowl records throughout the years. We always kind of overrate this stuff. And then when we actually see it on the field, it kind of evens itself out.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm a bit, there's a lot of strength of schedule talk and records against the top 25 and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how the strength of schedule stuff is calculated, but we need to start giving these SEC teams in particular, who in November always schedule a bye week like Alabama did with Mercer, the week before they lost by 21 points to Oklahoma. We have to start knocking teams for doing that. November's upset week. If you schedule a cupcake from the FCS level or Division II in November, you need to be knocked for that in a serious way.
And we need like a uniform like conference schedule. Like this is how all the Power 4 conference. Because Chris Kleiman, the Kansas State head coach, went on the podium a few weeks ago and was talking about this exactly and saying, look, the SEC plays an 8-game conference schedule. We just ate ourselves alive with a 9-game conference schedule. Like, what's the point of even doing that?
Exactly right. We gotta kind of figure this out right now.
It's a disaster.
Gotta kind of figure this out. And so it sounds like we're both a bit irked by Bama ahead of Miami.
Losses have to mean something.
They do.
They have to mean something. You're not playing in your conference title game.
They do.
You should not be ranked ahead of a team who is playing this weekend, who earned the right to play for a championship this weekend.
Completely agree. And you can poo-poo Miami's resume all you want, then Arizona State or Iowa State or BYU. 2-loss Power 4 teams should be ahead of Bama.
Does the BYU win over SMU mean anything? Does it mean anything?
You would think it should mean a lot because the way all these SEC 3-loss teams are ranked is mostly based on head-to-head.
Yes.
So, pretty disappointed in the lack of standards on this stuff. And honestly, if they didn't have this Bama-Miami snafu, kind of think in a lot of ways this would have all worked itself out where, you know what's probably going to happen? SMU is going to lose to Clemson. SMU now becomes a 2-loss team. They still should get in because they're a 2-loss team by playing an extra championship game.
Yep.
Clemson gets in as the ACC champion. Easy peasy, clean.
So this is what I don't, because they set this up in previous years with the top 4 where it's like, what you just said, they would make it so that the title games were kind of play-in games.
Yep.
Clemson's sitting here at 17, playing for a trip to the playoff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just going to shoehorn them in? It's Clemson. This is Clemson. This isn't SMU. This isn't BYU. This is Clemson we're talking about.
I know. Yeah, it's a mess this year, man. It's a mess. And if I was doing it, I totally see the argument for South Carolina getting in.
Oh, absolutely.
I totally believe
Give me South Carolina.
Been, one of the 12 best teams for like a month plus. But they're not power rankings, however.
No,
if we were doing power rankings, South Carolina would be a top 10 team for me.
They should be, yes.
But that has never necessarily been the exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we got to figure out the exercise. And we got to eliminate some of this conference bias that's way too clear how much the politics within the room. Whoa. Oh my God. The mics were on.
They
So
were.
we've got a phenomenal comment in the Toyota chat here that if you're following on YouTube, you can check out. We're not going to highlight that too strongly, but that's an all-timer.
That's so good.
It's truly beautiful. And we love it. With no shame in it.
Of course.
No shame in it.
We're not going to be apologizing for being us.
Yeah, Yaya's hard at work, and we're just talking how we talk. Just guys being dudes over here. So no problem.
That derailed you, though. You all right? Do you need me to get you back on track? We were on South Carolina.
So, thank you so much. It did derail me. It's a great comment. It did derail me. Yeah, man. And now we got teams who are kind of talking like SMU, should they just forfeit the ACC championship?
It's a great
Save
point.
themselves and be automatically in.
Yeah, wasn't that their coach who said if we got COVID, we're in? The whole team is out.
Ridiculous.
It makes no sense. And it's this, we talked about it on the Buff Show, I think on Monday. And RK called it anchor bias. And if you're not familiar, anchor bias, like just being attached to your previous takes, like people with Bo Nix and the NFL draft. They don't want to move off of their draft takes.
Yep.
Because
That's
they're
right.
afraid of being wrong.
Yes.
So they stick to these takes that they had in April.
It's so true.
Yeah.
We as a society need to hands up, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Hands up that early take, it was incorrect. I know I fell over myself to beat everyone to that stupid take after 2 plays in the first quarter. Hands up, I was totally wrong. We need to start doing that more as a society. We really do. We really do.
Be the change you want to see in the world. I had terrible Bo Nix draft takes. I'm a Bo lever, though.
Yeah.
Raising my hand.
Hands up.
It's okay. We can do this.
That's right. And I do see a Toyota chat comment in here talking about, the college football's been a mess and they've got it wrong. In the 14 format, it actually has worked itself out more often than not.
I mean, I think the first year when the playoff was in, they took TCU out, who was ranked 3 after winning the Big 12 title or something. They had no Big 12 in that playoff. And
the Florida State exclusion last year was
that
tough.
one. Yeah,
I mean, that was kind of insane.
There was a year when Alabama got in for not playing a title game, and I think they ended up winning the Natty that year.
Yeah.
So it's like, it does always kind of work itself out. But.
And there is the other part of this is like, yes, 12-team format, whatever, I get it. The loser of Ohio State, Michigan should just be out. Those are the rules and have been since the beginning of time.
Yes.
And to just be like, oh no, they're automatically in. Never mind that.
Right.
It's
not playing in a conference title game.
It's sad.
Yes.
It's sad. And I'm already seeing like 24 team brackets, and it's like, I mean, we kind of warned you that like this is just going to become the NCAA tournament in like 2 years.
So then what do you think? 2 AQs for each Power 4? So that the conference title game can mean something.
The conference title game is round 1 of the playoffs, basically.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think, yes. We need to get back to on the field is first and foremost what matters.
Yes.
Winning and losing in these crucial November games is ultimately what matters. Ultimately what gets you in above all else.
Agreed. It seems simple to me. I don't know. I thought when the 12-team playoff was coming that it would make it easier for the committee in a way.
I did too, but I always knew, like, the discourse in that 11, 12, 13, 14 is always going to be pretty nuts.
Right, exactly.
It was always going to be more complex than the top 4 or the top 2.
I was listening to the Rosillo pod a few days ago, and he said something like, or maybe it was McShay. I can't remember who it was, but one of them said, I'm not going to be the guy who argues for the 13th best team in the country, because last year, the 13th best team in the country, completely irrelevant, had no impact on anything.
It sure did.
It's a great point. So I aspire to be like that.
Yeah, and we had a great LSU team with Jaden Daniels, who I think just would have made it in or just out. Arizona was super hot, and like Oregon State would have been a good argument. Last year would have been a fun convo as well, but we didn't get that. Gets me heated, man.
Me too. Makes no sense.
We're going to talk about true natty contenders. We're going to talk about some of the latest mocks, draft ranking updates on the other side. One thing I wonder about, though, is if the committee just choose chill and was watching some ball with a nice, refreshing, cold like the Rockies Coors Light, would this change their opinions? Would they maybe realize that Saban isn't at Alabama anymore and they can let go? You know, they can choose chill and not have to pigeonhole Alabama in.
They got to try something. So, if anything, I hope they choose chill.
Well, it is, that delicious cold lager, cold as the Rockies, packaged cold, served cold, made cold. I mean, you name it. When the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. It's time, When you embrace a chill mindset, it's always a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Make the most of the times you choose to chill and choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DMVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And, of course, a guiding force for us on this podcast, always and forever, the homies at Bet365, where you can get in on teams to make the playoffs, teams to win the Natty, teams to win their conference championship. And you name it. Rookie of the Year awards for Bo. Coach of the Year, Sean Payton. Bet365 has you covered, and it's the only place that we partner with, our exclusive betting partner, where you can find our boosted DMVR bets with our logo right on the front page. And, all sorts of awesome promotions. Download the Bet365 app. Use our code DMVR365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5, and you get $150 in bonus bets. It's absolutely an awesome deal. Great way to get started. Great. Many years I've been able to use my gambling winnings to then fund Christmas presents. It's a great way to do it. It's a great way to do it. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If someone has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. The other weird thing this year, Jakester, is it's an odd year. There's not.
There's not a team just a dominant team.
Yes. Though, could Oregon be that? Are we discrediting Oregon? Because there are times I watch that defense, I watch that offense, and it's like they do look like a pretty well-oiled machine,
They've got some dudes.
They don't have many weaknesses either.
Yes. I think it just comes down to the quarterback. Can Gabriel really elevate his level of play and just go straight beat a team? Because that's what you're going to need in the playoff to go win a national title. But, I mean, if I had to pick a team, I think it's pretty clearly Oregon at this point. We were talking about this in the office yesterday. Someone was saying Texas, too.
Texas is best. I think we've said it before on this podcast. Feels like the best.
Yeah.
I might be coming around to Georgia again.
I don't know if I'll be able to get there.
I can't quit them sometimes. It's tough.
I mean, I get it, but it's been talking about not having a dominant team. Georgia's just not close to the same level they have been the last 4 years or so.
100%, man. And I mean, I just watched the Texas tape last night.
Yeah.
So that's in my head a little bit. The Georgia Tech game, though.
They should have lost.
Yikes.
I can't. First off, crazy game. I thought when overtime started in that game, I was like, first team to call a quarterback run's going to win this game. It took till 4 overtimes for that to happen.
Yeah, crazy.
And then it was just, first off, I hate this overtime
it's really
format,
bad.
too.
It's really bad.
Go back to what worked.
It's really bad.
I mean, they really had one Texas A&M LSU game that had 70 points, and they thought we have to fix this. That was one game.
Legendary, too.
It was. Great game.
Yeah, well, this one instead was dragged on, no rhythm. Oof.
Yeah, Kirby's taking timeouts every overtime and stuff.
Yeah. Georgia plus 475 to win the Natty, 4th shortest odds Oregon, the favorite at plus 350. Texas, plus 425. And Ohio State, plus 450. Are those your true national contenders? Is it just those four? Do you consider Ohio State a true national contender?
No.
Will Howard?
Will Howard. Said it before the season. I'll say it again. Just don't believe in him.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
You're not wrong, man.
I think I'd take maybe 7, 8 quarterbacks in the top 10 above him.
Yeah. Oh. I bet you I could get to like 15 before
I was going
I'm
to say,
thinking
yeah,
Will
it might
Howard.
be worse.
Including Kyle McCord, who, by the way,
Ballin'.
just upset Miami this past Saturday.
Whoa.
Oh, we've got Christmas lights falling down. The Toyota chat would have loved that one. Salsa Wolf, the Rockies did not pay me to wear this hat, so but shout out to them. You know, I just like the hat. You know, it's a good hat.
Just a big Denver guy.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, truly, Colorado, in fact. Do you agree Georgia's a true national title contender?
I will say yes.
Also, if they lose
in
the SEC title game, and they've got 3 losses, how do you make sure they stay in?
Welcome back.
Right. Oh, well, head-to-heads do matter now, as you remember Bama beat Georgia.
I mean, I think what it all boils down to with Georgia is yes. They do have championship pedigree. They've got dogs all over the place.
Literally.
Carson Beck, yes. Carson Beck has been up and down.
Yeah.
They've had better weapons
better lately
in previous years.
Oh,
and
I think that's the big difference. Yeah.
And they have, as you said, they've been better lately. They've been kind of progressing. Yeah. So, yes, I would, I guess, call them a contender still.
A true national title contender. Would you say that about Notre Dame? Who
I don't
dropped
know.
to plus 900 as natty favorites. Is there anyone else in this top 12 to 15? Say Clemson made it in, who you say, I could see that squad going all the way. Is Boise State a true natty contender too?
No. Let's go back to South Carolina.
I agree.
Because I think no one wants to play against that front seven. No one.
No one. Absolutely no one.
They take over games.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So I think that's a team like...
They're plus 12,500.
I mean, maybe they get matched with, I guess, Ohio State in the first round or something.
Right? Oh, it's a great call.
Taking South Carolina out. They might be favored in that game.
Yeah, 100%.
Outright taking them. And then say they play
like against Notre Dame.
Yeah. And then you get like an SMU second round. I'm taking South Carolina. And then if you get a Penn State in the national title game.
Right. You're taking South Carolina.
I might be taking South Carolina.
I agree. Would you say that about Tennessee?
Tennessee, I do think, has the juice to do it too.
I know. I like the backfield of Dylan Sampson, Nico.
Yep.
That defense is for real. Mm-hmm. Back seven has a ton of 2026 draft guys, 2025 prospects are all on the defensive front. Yeah, they're a handful, man.
Yep. Ole Miss.
I agree. That front, that offense, it's kind of like, I'd say they're a true natty contender. It's crazy to have those teams ahead of Ohio State, or Notre Dame, or Penn State. But I agree completely. Penn State, natty contender?
Well, they've got a little bit of that South Carolina, too, where Abdul Carter and those guys can kind of just go crazy.
Yeah.
They do have Tyler Warren. They do have some weapons. It's just
Drew
Lar.
Aller and Singleton in the backfield. Yeah, I know. Drew Allar is a tough one.
I mean, he's been okay this year. His completion percentage has shot up like crazy. He was at 59.9 last year, 71.6 this year.
No, I mean, if you look at the stats, he's actually having a really nice year. And yet you watch him and they are like the most Tyler Warren dependent offense you will ever see.
Let's talk Big 12. Do you believe in, if you had to pick one Big 12 team, we have ASU, ISU in the title game. BYU's probably out.
Yeah.
So I guess ISU, ASU. Who do you believe in more?
I mean, J-Mike said this when we did this a couple weeks ago, and he said to him the Buffs were a true natty contender when they just had 2 losses. But
They were.
When you have
yes.
the best quarterback in the country, that goes a long way.
And best player.
Correct. And a defensive line that was playing at that level. I mean, a lot of things, a lot of factors in their favor. BYU, to me, gun to my head, of those 3 2-loss teams, is the one I would say, like, look, we're saying Ohio State's not a true natty contender. We're, like, on the fence about Penn State, so I'm not going to tell you BYU is.
Right.
But BYU is the one I feel maybe best about.
I think they're the best overall team.
Yep.
They've got 23, 24-year-olds all over the place.
Best team in the trenches,
Yes.
both sides.
And,
That Chase Roberts kid's for real, too.
yeah, he's nice. And I like Kalani Sitake quite a bit.
Hell of a coach.
He's been clutch for them this year.
Hell of a coach, man. No doubt.
I'm going to answer my own question, though. What about ASU? I like ASU.
Scottaboo's awesome.
He's a problem. They did lose Jordan Tyson for the season, though, and he had
That's
a phenomenal
huge, man.
year.
That is huge.
But Sam Levitt's been balling, too.
And that defense has been no joke lately.
Yeah.
No joke lately. And yeah, I mean, I guess they just recently beat BYU, who I just praised. And they haven't lost a game since at Cincinnati and before Halloween.
And Levitt didn't play that game.
So, I mean, yeah, no, I think you could make a strong case.
They could be a sneaky Final Four team.
Also, no pity for the effing kitty is one of the greatest
Kenny
quotes of
Dillingham's
all
a
time.
legend, bro.
Like,
Yeah.
boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So just incredible stuff. Any other thoughts on these rankings, natties? We'll get into our conference finals predictions
I do have a question for
in
you.
the final segment. Please.
Do you think Boise State can actually win a game and have a run here? Powered by Ashton Genty. Because, like I said, if they run into a Penn State or a Ole Miss or a South Carolina,
Could be trouble.
that could be trouble for them.
Could be trouble. They could also run into a Notre Dame
Fair
or an
enough.
Ohio State
Right?
and be
I mean, you
trouble the other direction.
Yeah, Michigan just ran for how much on them?
Exactly,
Yeah.
man. And I mean, and that quarterback has come along a smidge. Like, they would not be a one-loss team with their only loss coming in Eugene.
by a point.
Right. To the only undefeated team in the entire country if he hadn't come along.
Yeah.
And
Or
after
3
that,
points, I guess. Sorry.
they've got, superstar at quarterback, running back, and they're quite solid in the trenches. I mean, it's pretty classic Boise State. They might not have a Van Esch or a true blue chipper on defense or on the O-line, but they're pretty damn good. I think that's the thing about these playoffs. It could line up to where you get a Notre Dame, a Penn State, an Ohio State. You maybe get an SMU and Indiana, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, all you got to do is win one more game.
Right. Right.
Anything's possible at that point. Statue of
No
Liberty.
doubt.
I mean, we've seen crazier things happen with Boise, than that.
Do you think ASU or the Big 12 title winner can jump Boise in the rankings? Is this over? Big 12's not going to have a bye. They're going to give it to Boise State.
I think they've left themselves with plenty of room to do that, to have Boise be skipped over. I think Boise's done enough to not be skipped over, but I think they've set themselves up to do that, yeah, for sure. Especially if Boise isn't completely dominant.
Fair enough. We'll get to mock draft talk.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to get to mock draft talk right now on the other side. But first, we need to tell you all about our good friends at Toyota. We, of course, are coming from the Toyota Lounge, and it's that time of year where if you're in a Toyota, you just feel so much better driving your car around Colorado, driving around the mountains, little impromptu excursions, whether you're driving around, let's drive around the neighborhood. Let's see some Christmas lights. You ever do that, Jake?
Haven't done it for a minute, but
man, we gotta have you over for dinner and do top off the evening with a little drive around the neighborhood, see what the Christmas lights are like.
I could hang out, with your wonderful little daughter in the back and just go crazy. Look at that one, Dre.
That's right. That's right. I mean, family, safety, Colorado, the seasons. It's all Toyota time. It's just Toyota time. They have such incredible, great family cars, safe cars for you. So many options, all-wheel, four-wheel drive, you name it. And, including as environmentally friendly hybrids and electric cars. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, and Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. Get in a Toyota today and tell them DMVR sent you. By golly. And of course, shout out to ourselves. Yes, DMVR events. It's such a great time to come to the Mecca, the DMVR bar, and join us for some lit watch parties. Championship week, UFC fights, Avs, Nugs, Buffs bowl game if you can't make it to San Antonio, San Diego, or wherever they end up playing. College football playoffs, great time to be at the bar and check that stuff out. And beyond the bar, beyond our events, check us out, ddmvr.com. Become a member today. All sorts of incredible stuff. Some great merch, the best in the city. So check that out. Yeah, man, our whole thing is giving a great experience for Denver sports fans because that's what we are, is Denver sports fans through and through.
Yep.
So we hope you can check us out and support it and find some value in what we're doing.
Come hang out at the Broncos tailgates. It's a blast.
Damn straight. Right. We've got more of those. And those are amazing. So, yeah, come check that out. Okay, Jake.
Okay.
J-Mike and I on Monday did a little audio. Check out your podcast feed if you missed it. Mock.
Mm-hmm.
That was very fun. We mocked the top 20. We did have, Travis Shador going back to back.
Okay. Who'd we get?
The Broncos got Tyler Warren, and that lines up with exactly what Dane Brugler from The Athletic has the Broncos taking, though he has them taking that at 22 overall, 23 in fact. Penn State tight end, we just talked about him a little bit on the Broncos pod. Did you know he's 6'6", 257? At least that's what he's listed at.
He does not look it.
No, because he moves like Taysom Hill, who I looked up as 6'2", 220.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, he's a unicorn.
And he blocks so well on the move. But I don't think of him as an inline tight end. I think of him as a move tight end.
Yeah.
Despite that size, which is totally the size of an inline tight end. It's a really exciting tight end class. You do have guys like Warren and Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, my guys. They've outperformed what anything Brock Bowers did at Georgia, And Brock Bowers was like incredibly productive in his time with the Dogs, and we've seen it translate immediately.
Colston?
In the NFL. And then you've got Colston Loveland, who despite some really poor quarterback play at Michigan, and it's sad he missed the Ohio State game. He's put together a really nice year. He's a really talented move tight end, big flex receiver. So it kind of feels like you couldn't go wrong starting with the tight end position for the Broncos, especially with it being such a glaring need. And I feel more and more comfortable, especially of that top three.
So I came into the season thinking that the Broncos had one of the worst wide receiving cores in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And credit to those guys because they've really, Court's kind of gotten as close as he's been to pre-injury form that we've seen.
Yeah.
Mims has stepped up in that role recently and stuff too. They need a pass catcher still. So tight end, I am okay with.
Yeah. They need more options in the middle.
Yes.
Out of the slot. Whether that's coming from your tight end, whether that's coming from a slot wide receiver, a little combo of both. I definitely think that's what you need. And it's a really nice tight end class for them to do that with.
And with Warren, you get that extra aspect of course, he's got the size, so you can play him in line. You can also you move him because he has the skill set to do that. But he's got that backfield ability too that we've seen that he's been doing at Penn State. And Sean likes to get super creative with his offense, especially his tight ends. I mean, Taysom Hill being, the first name that comes to mind in terms of creativity. But
yeah.
I mean,
Jimmy
look at Jimmy Graham. I mean, they dominated defenses just having someone who could stretch the seam and just go up over the top of linebackers.
They sure did. And I mean, already with some of the spacing that's being created with Franklin and Mims's speed, you then have someone like Cortland who can or Vele who can take advantage of that extra space underneath. Now you're really cooking with gas. Mm-hmm. I found it interesting in Brugler's mock that Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa, was taken 25th overall by the Chargers. And I know Ben Albright quote tweeted when he declared for the draft this week that he thought of him as a target to watch for the Broncos. Our resident Iowa fan at the office is Big Drive Spence. Check out Big Drive Energy, always one of the funnest pods on our network. And he at the beginning of the season was telling me about Johnson, and he compared him to Derrick Henry. I thought, man, he's such a crazy homer. Stylistically, honestly, he is very Derrick Henry-esque.
Was it the Nebraska game where he had the 80-yard run? That was crazy. He's just running through people.
Big. He runs a little upright.
He does.
But he'll surprise you in without much momentum, how he's able to make cuts and get out of. And then coming downhill, he is a handful. You get him in space, much like Derrick Henry, and then it's oof, best of luck to you tackling that guy in space. Which, frankly, is what I'd say about Tyler Warren as well.
Oh, for sure.
So, just more guys like that, more mismatches, more guys who you just get out in space and they will impact things in a positive way.
I'm on it.
Oh, yes, from the Toyota chat, a great comment about how old is our guy Tyler Warren, and the Schwan man on it instantly. Right after the Broncos, also Kenneth Grant, the nose tackle from Michigan, who had a great game.
Baller.
I mean, he's 340 pounds. I totally could see Sean just being we're just going to be bigger, badder than everyone and get a Kenneth Grant. Which would make a lot of sense. Here, other notes from this mock is Marcus Mbow, the Purdue right tackle, makes it into the first round for the Vikings at 28. He's a Sean Payton power blocking kind of guy. Reminds me a little bit of Darnell Wright, the Tennessee right tackle, who the Bears drafted 10th overall two drafts ago.
Yeah.
And then you had Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marshall, 30th to the Buffalo Bills. Watched a little of his tape. Leads the nation in tackles for loss and sack, 16 and 21 respectively.
All right, he's on my list then.
And man, does he get after it. Where's number 15, 6'4", 245? Looks just like this version of Nick Bonito. Wiry, just motor. Yes, speed and can get you off the edge, but loves going to your inside shoulder, just getting you with some deceptive power. This guy, it might seem crazy to have in top 30 in a loaded edge class, right? Loaded. It's 10 guys we like as top 40 picks. Mike Green might be a top 5 edge rusher in this class. Love him. Definitely a name to know and be aware of.
And Brugler's plugged in.
Yes.
This is
yes, he is.
If he's putting him here, I think it's only up for Mike Green.
Damn straight. And in fact, my biggest and final note is that my guy, Josh Connerly Jr., Bo Nix's left tackle, star left tackle for the Oregon Ducks. I said it in the Monday pod. He, to me, now is offensive tackle 1 in this class. We mocked him 6th overall to the Jets. And still, I'm not seeing anyone catch up to this. Brugler, who's plugged in, 20th overall. So I think the rise is starting. So very happy with that.
Love it. Going back to Tyler Warren, who put that human alarm clock is right. You can't find anything on his birthday, but he was a 2020 recruit. So he was 17, 18 around
at
then.
20. So 18 at 20, 19, 21, 22 he's 20, 23 he's 21, 24 he's 22.
Mm-hmm.
So 22, 23 as a rookie.
Yeah, which is fine.
It's not terrible.
No.
It's really not terrible. Yeah, and actually in the latest 2 hours ago, Mel Kiper dropped his new rankings. He has Tyler Warren 18th on his big board. So
All right.
people are coming along. People are coming along for sure. That was a good one. Let's get into picks for this week.
Yeah.
Schwan, man.
What up?
Wait, we started at 11:30,
Yes,
Riley?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So never mind. We don't need to rush this. Let's do 5 more minutes on this. Anything else that stood out to you here or in some of the other updated rankings lists that I sent your way, Jake?
Yeah, just going to Brugler, working down here. He's got Cam Ward over Shador. Particularly the Raiders picking another quarterback over Shador.
I would love that so much if the Raiders got Cam Ward.
I agree. I don't think it's going to happen.
I think that's crazy.
I think if Shador Sanders is on the board and the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock, that is going to be the pick. Go ahead.
Quarterback rankings for this class. Where are you at right now? Shador 1.
Shador 1. I think I'm still sticking at Cam 2.
You are.
Yes.
I think I'm a Ewers 2 guy.
You're still sticking on Ewers,
Yeah, kind of.
I think I'm still...
I think that ceiling is just like way enticing.
So we did this like on the
Cam
show.
Ward's ceiling is tough for me.
It is, and he's...
like, what's the S tier version of Cam Ward? Is it like
the playmaking
Athletic
without turning over the
Geno?
ball?
Yeah, I mean, what's that look like as a pro? Athletic Geno?
Yeah.
Undersized Josh Allen? I
But there's like more Tony Romo to his game where he loves like just running around.
That's
back there.
actually a great comp.
So
That's actually a great comp.
I'd stick to. We did this like 2 months ago. I'd stick to what I think I said. I had Shador, Cam, Jalen Milroe, just because of the athleticism of Milroe.
Damn straight. Yeah, I'm just swapping out Ewers in that 2 spot, and then I have Cam Ward as my 4th guy.
Yep, it's weird quarterback class.
It's a very odd quarterback class. It's becoming an odd wide receiver class a little bit.
Yeah,
Like LB3 and Bond underwhelming a smidge.
Yes, definitely.
You know, Trey Harris then gets injured at the end of the year. Like,
Yeah.
Book has a good bounce back year, but not.
Restrepo's just out here balling still.
Right, Restrepo's out here killing it, and I'm not sure, like, is he Braxton Berrios or Zay Flowers,
Right,
you know?
right.
So, yeah, it's been an odd one. I think more guys will rise up, like Ty Felton, you know, from Maryland. A few guys like that will pop a bit more, but we shall see. It's a weird offensive tackle class. It's weird at the premier positions. But if you need a tight end, if you need a linebacker, if you need a running back, boy, is it a great year.
Our
Interior
guy,
D-line.
Edge, which we talked about.
Edge is loaded.
Our guy
Edge is the
Siobhan
one premier
Ravel
spot.
sticking in the first round in this Brugler mock too at 15 overall
Dude,
to the Colts.
the Ravel hide.
Yeah.
There's such a consensus top 4 corners in this class. After that, it's really like, but I do believe he had, did not have Jahadi Barron. One of the guys from the different rankings we've had that I sent you in our rundown is Jahadi Barron, who's kind of the star corner for Texas. You might know him as one of 3 Thorpe Award finalists, not named Travis Hunter. Caleb Downs, Malachi Starks, the other 2, just phenomenal safeties. Barron, very interesting, though. He's playing as an outside corner for Texas, slightly undersized, like 5'11", 200. Was playing as their slot last year. And that versatility makes him very intriguing. His competitiveness, how just like every play he's going to compete, whether he's in press in the slot, whether he has to tackle the run, whether he has to go up and make a play on the ball. Barron's very competitive. I think the the ultimate ceiling is quite limited compared to the other top guys. I'm not going to sell you on he's a lockdown number 1 corner, which you would usually on a first rounder.
For sure.
But what he brings to the table is being like a really high-end number 2, a really high-end like slot corner for you. And just a solid football player who no matter what coverage you're playing, you know, even if you're going to fire your DC in 10 months, when you drafted this kid for a specific scheme, you're going to find a way to make him work for that next scheme your new DC is playing. So a high floor, just a coverage profile that most teams can buy into. So he's another name that's kind of rising up boards, and he's for like the second best team. And I always find it a little funny, like these, a big draft riser, like literally like the
Texas.
Oregon's left tackle. Texas's star corner. Like, well, we've unearthed a gem. Like, no,
Right.
if you just watched football on Saturday, you'd notice this guy.
Tell him, bro.
So, yeah, there you go. That was another name I wanted to throw out.
5'11", 200. I mean, not the greatest physical traits, but has played a lot of football. 53 career games. He has 21 career passes defense. He's got 7 career INTs, 4 of them coming this year. So arrow's ticking up.
Very solid year. Number 7 on their defense was number 23 if you watch the 23 tape. So don't get confused when you do that. I feel like that's always useful information.
Yes.
Okay. You ready for some picks?
Yeah, let's get into
Championship week?
Yes.
I used to call this I used to say, you know, this is a playoff preview, one expanded playoffs. Here you go. This is round 1 of the playoffs. We've lost that a little bit. And look, I say it and I'll move on with my life, but I needed to say it.
Thank you for saying it. You're doing the Lord's work. You're doing America's work by saying it.
That's what we hope to do on this podcast.
Is the committee beyond saving? Can they make it right this weekend?
Is the committee beyond saving? The answer, a resounding yes. They're cooked, bro. They're cooked. They're political figureheads at this point. It's sad. I don't want to be that guy. I usually don't go this route. I'm just a ball knower and lover. I just want to grind some Mike Green tape, you know?
I can't believe I want the BCS back.
That was the best system.
It's crazy.
A 12-team BCS, they probably got it right every single year.
Yeah.
This is 2's a little hard. 2's hard.
Yeah.
12? Shit, the computers can handle that. Then the computers can tell me, is it power rankings? Is it real rankings? Whatever, you know?
Yeah.
What would the BCS... Does Google have a BCS ranking right now?
I've seen it before.
They usually do. When we had a 14 playoff, we used to be able... I mean... Does the AP differ from these rankings? Am I almost bring us back to the AP voting?
Okay, I found it.
Yeah, for example, the AP... No, they have Alabama 11th. Darn it, AP. But Arizona State 12th, which I respect.
Yes. So in the BCS...
Yes.
I'm not going to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's up to 3. Ohio State's down to 6. SMU goes up to... Or Ohio State's still 6, I should say. Indiana stays at 9. Alabama still 11. South Carolina 14 though. Miami would be 13. Arizona State up to 15. Ole Miss down to 13.
They have Boise at 10?
Boise State is still at 10, yes.
Wow. Oh, geez.
So, I mean...
Well, is the committee just using BCS numbers? We got to eat our words, Jake.
I guess we do, because these are only like 1 spots up and down. Like, there's hardly any movement,
and
actually.
the AP rankings kind of matches up, too. And that was what we had before the BCS.
It's...
Maybe podcasters should be the ones coming up with the rankings.
It just doesn't smell right. There's just something fishy with the
There's
CFB.
a stank on it.
There's
a stank on it. You're absolutely right. There's just too much conference bias, you know?
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Jose listing a lot of tight ends that he can remember being first-round tight ends, but
the portal
a lot
wasn't.
of them are second-round tight ends.
Yeah.
That's okay. We love Jose. He always knows what he's
Appreciate
talking
you,
about.
Jose.
I'm probably just confused in the Toyota chat. Join us one, join us all. Let's start with Friday. UNLV at Boise State. Broncos 4-point favorites. It's tough to beat a team twice, Jake. It's tough to beat a team twice. We start the analysis here.
2.5. Oh,
4.
I just lost my page.
4. Broncos by 4. I think they smoke them.
Smoke them. UNLV hung in there.
They did.
Pretty decently.
Was a home game for them.
Okay. They did contain Genty for, 3 quarters in that game, too?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Boise State.
Samesies.
I see, Jose. I think we read your comment wrong.
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah. I mean, Jose's right. The history of first-round tight ends isn't great.
Yep.
So, yeah, waiting for one to slip to day 2 could be the play. I think Loveland and Fannin could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Warren might just be the guy. And then Sean Payton did draft Jeremy Shockey round 1. I think Sean Payton was at the
Giants?
At the wheel. Oh, no, Giants. What am I thinking? He just signed him as a free agent later.
Yes.
Iowa State at Arizona State. 2-point favorites for the Sun Devils.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Jordan Tyson injury really matters, and I think Iowa State gets this +2.
I really want to pick ASU, but like what you just said, I mean, you're losing your most explosive receiver.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with it. Though. ISU's looked a bit rocky at times this season. They really kind of fumbled the bag.
Yeah, you are right.
They could have run the table in the Big 12, made it a no-doubter that they would get into the title game instead of taking it to the last week. ASU's just a wagon right now.
They really are, man.
And I'm hopping on.
And Scattaboo is fantastic at running back for them. Certainly a guy to watch. The 2 wide receivers for Arizona State are big-time prospects. And then you also want to watch Iowa State's corner, Darian Porter. He's one of the best in the country. Really got some great size, too.
Iowa State has great receivers as well.
Yes. They're both pro guys. Penn State at Oregon. Oregon 3.5-point favorites.
I'm going to take Oregon.
Yeah, it's tough to go undefeated all year, but I kind of think they smoke them.
I think they have the guys up front to contain Penn State's front.
Derek
and I think
Harmon.
they have the difference makers on defense to make life hard on Drew Alar this weekend.
Agreed. ACC, SMU 2-point favorites over Clemson.
Oh, man. I was talking with Scott about this yesterday, and he was telling me he would take SMU. And I was kind of agreeing with him, but...
I know, I would too, and yet I worry, is that like the sweet boy side?
Yeah, I'm going to take the more talented football team. I'm going to take Clemson.
I know. Clemson kind of stinks, but against my better judgment, I think I will too. Georgia at Texas. Longhorns, 2.5-point favorites. Again, yet another regular season matchup. And it's tough to beat a team twice.
It is tough to beat a team twice.
Now, in this game, that's an argument for the favorites, Texas.
Yes, but on that same kind of point, though, I do think Sark is one of those coaches who is attentive enough to change enough things in a rematch that it's not just the same song and dance, you know? So
yeah, I hear you.
I just don't want to take all favorites, if I'm being honest.
No, I know.
I'll take Texas.
I'm leaning Georgia on this one.
I'm going to take Texas.
And Calvin Banks, the left tackle for Texas being healthy, is a big one. Also, you're going to get a really nice matchup in the trenches here as a draft nick. Texas against Georgia, you really have some top talents going against one another. Yeah, I think I'm taking the dogs at 2.5 to really complicate things.
I respect it.
Yeah, and then, so Texas, Georgia, Clemson are my upsets. Oregon, Boise are my faves. And yeah, I'm taking Iowa State. So 3 upsets. I feel good about that.
And I'm only taking Clemson as a dog.
Yeah,
and it
you're
does
a little
not
too
make me feel
heavy.
good.
You're a little too fave heavy. Concerning for sure.
I mean, if I had to pick another one, though, it would be Georgia. A dog. I wouldn't pick UNLV. I do respect Iowa State. I just think Arizona State is kind of peaking right now. And then Penn State can make life hard on Oregon. They can. I just think Oregon's
100%.
They're undefeated, man. They've got a ton of talent. And I trust their quarterback more than Drew Lohr.
Yeah, they're kind of loaded everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good, 100%. And thank you, Jose, for looking that up. Now, not the head coach, of course, when they drafted Shockey, but he was the OC for the Giants when they drafted Jeremy Shockey round 1. So, and Tyler Warren with the hair out the back of the helmet.
Giving you Shockey vibes?
Shockey-esque. Also competitive, like that was the Shockey thing.
Right, yeah. A lot of energy.
Yeah, super competitive guy.
Sean's gonna. Coming into the season, I would have thought wide receiver no matter what, but I could totally see Sean just being like, "We'll go get a vet and give me a tackle or a tight end."
I also think the young wide receivers plus Cortland have popped enough to where, he feels like, I don't know if you want to take touches away from Vela and Franklin and Mims and Sutton.
And there are some guys I like late in this draft at wide receiver. We mentioned the ISU guys, Jalen Noel being one of them.
Yeah, and I mean, Jaden Higgins, the big body boy, he really feels like a Sean Payton guy, right?
Yes, and then let me get this right. I want to make sure this is the right guy I'm talking about. Yes, Savion Williams from TCU.
Dude.
6'5", 210.
Yeah.
And is just Swiss Army knife. This guy has 60 receptions and 51 rushing attempts this year.
Yeah, I mean, could just kind of be, very Taysom Hill-esque, right? Yeah, there are guys like that. I mean, Nick Nash at San Jose State leaves the country or is just behind our guy Fannin in receiving yards.
Yeah, and we talked about him on the show.
He's huge.
Jordan Tyson, he could enter the draft. And he is a field stretcher. He was the best player on that 2022 Colorado team.
100%.
And he's bounced back from that injury that he had that season really nicely. And it's a different injury now. I think it's like a collarbone or something. Which, if it's a broken bone, then whatever, man.
Right. No, I mean, you've got a guy like Rock Taylor at Memphis, 6'3", 215. He's putting up big numbers. Dorian Singer, a favorite of yours a couple of years ago at Arizona,
Yeah, I don't even know what to think about him right
I know.
now.
And yet he's the only one to get Travis Hunter for a touchdown all season.
That is true. That is true. Trey Harris, that's a big receiver. Alec Manor is a big wide receiver.
Brew McCoy had a breakout year after all, Kyron Lacey no one talks about, but he's had a hell of a year at LSU. I mean, I'm still a big believer in Torrey Horton, who you might get at a real bargain, you know? But
not?
Size, speed, routes, hands, the kid's got it all.
That's the type of receiver I think the Broncos need. They need a true separator, a route runner, not necessarily an X, but almost like a Z, someone that you can send in motion across. You can run some jet sweeps, but you can also work all 3 levels of the field and just get open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you need to take a gamble on a guy who you think could be a number 1. Trey Harris might be a nice gamble. Emeka Egbuka might be a nice gamble. Torrey Horton might be a nice gamble. The Lacey kid could be a nice gamble. Ja'Cory Brooks, a Bama transferred, had a really nice year at Louisville, could be a nice option. Chase Roberts, if he was to declare for BYU, fits that. Final one I'll throw out, Jack Beck, TCU's wide receiver. LSU transfer.
Yeah.
He's been on fire. He's got size. He's got good speed. No one's talking about him, but watch out for him too. Also, I'm seeing on my wide receiver rankings, one listed as TCU, one listed as Texas Christian. So time to make a choice here. Which one are we going to go by?
Make a choice.
Always such a pleasure doing these with Jake.
Love him, brother.
Such a blast. Thank you so much to our Toyota chat for participating, asking some great questions. Leave us a thumbs up on the way out. So great talking future Broncos, talking draft, talking playoffs. Going to be a wild one after these championship weeks.
Yeah, enjoy it, man.
Is it a good bet, South Carolina, to win the Natty, or there's no path to get in?
Wasn't it outrageous? Like 20,000 or something?
12,500.
Sure.
Sprinkle. Have a good one, guys. We're out.
We all silly like the mayor.